What really happened in that quiet neighborhood on Valentine's Day, 1988? A famous boxer, a glamorous actress, and a tragic fall that shattered lives. But the truth? It's darker and more shocking than anyone could have imagined. The story of Carlos Monzón and Alicia Munis captivated a nation, but there are still secrets waiting to be uncovered. Stay tuned as we delve into the untold details of this crime that continues to haunt Argentina. Don't miss out. This is a revelation you won't forget. It was early in the morning on Valentine's Day, 1988, when something horrifying unfolded in a quiet neighborhood in Mar del Plata. Most people were still asleep when a blood-curdling scream broke the silence. Moments later, 2 bodies were found lying on the ground outside a small house. Inside, 2 children slept soundly, unaware that their world was about to be irrevocably altered. This is the story of a crime that would shock an entire nation, and of the man at the center of it all, Carlos Monzón, one of Argentina's most celebrated athletes. But how did a boxing champion become involved in such a tragic and violent event? The answers are both devastating and mind-expanding. The illusion of glamour and fame. Alicia Munis was born on August 18, 1955, in Montevideo, Uruguay, and moved to Argentina just before turning 17. A strikingly beautiful young woman, she ventured into modeling, with dreams of becoming a star. Starting as a dancer in popular Middle Eastern-themed restaurants, Alicia's charisma soon opened doors to Buenos Aires stage and screen. Her career in acting took off, and she became a celebrated presence in the city's theatrical shows, even landing a role in the hit TV show Feliz Domingo. In 1978, during the FIFA World Cup in Argentina, Alicia met Carlos Monzón at a lunch organized by mutual friends. At the time, Carlos was a retired boxing champion, famous for defending the middleweight world title 14 times. His fame had crossed borders, and he too had dabbled in acting. But beneath his success, Carlos had a troubled past. Born into poverty, he had left school early to support his family, finding solace in boxing as a means to escape hardship. Yet, as the world admired him, Carlos struggled with darker impulses: love and violence. From the moment Carlos and Alicia met, their relationship seemed destined for turbulence. Despite his fame and charm, Carlos' temper was infamous. Their romance quickly blossomed, but as time passed, the cracks began to show. Carlos' possessiveness and emotional instability started to take a toll on Alicia, isolating her from her career and social life. Alicia tried to break free, but Carlos would always draw her back in. In 1981, the couple tied the knot and announced they were expecting a child. Their son, Maximiliano, was born on December 28, 1981, and Alicia devoted herself fully to motherhood. However, behind closed doors, things worsened. Carlos's volatile behavior escalated, and Alicia found herself enduring physical and emotional abuse. Their cycle of breaking up and reconciling became more pronounced, leaving Alicia emotionally drained and fearful. The breaking point and the decision to leave. By 1986, Alicia's breaking point was reached. She filed police reports documenting Carlos' abuse, yet his fame seemed to shield him from the consequences of his actions. Despite the evidence, the authorities failed to take the situation seriously. Alicia's struggles deepened as she tried to rebuild her life, balancing motherhood and her career. In 1987, she found the courage to walk away for good, moving back to Uruguay. But as the southern summer of 1988 approached, Alicia decided to visit Mar del Plata. Her son, Maximiliano, was staying there with Carlos, and Alicia's return was fueled by a mix of motives: to see her son, to bring him back to Uruguay, or perhaps to demand child support from Carlos, who had neglected his financial responsibilities. The fateful night. Carlos had been staying at the home of a close friend, actor Adrian Martel, when Alicia arrived. Though Carlos had been a tumultuous figure in their lives, Adrian had hoped for reconciliation. The night of February 13th, 1988, started off peacefully with the couple sharing a meal and wine. But soon after, things took a darker turn. The two attended a birthday party and later went to a club, where Carlos drank heavily. By the early hours of February 14th, Carlos and Alicia returned to the house, where the tension between them escalated into a violent argument. It was around 5 or 6 in the morning when, amidst their heated exchange, Alicia fell from the balcony. The fall was not fatal on its own. It was the impact that proved deadly. Carlos, too, ended up on the ground, but the sequence of events remains unclear. The aftermath and public outrage. The morning was chaotic, with broken glass, overturned flower pots, and the sound of emergency services filling the air. As the media swarmed the scene, Roman, Adrian's son, was awakened by his father's urgent warnings. The community was shaken by the tragic events, and the public's reaction was swift and divided. Carlos, initially taken to the hospital with serious injuries, later confessed to police that he had struck Alicia during their argument, claiming it was a minor slap. However, the evidence told a different story. Alicia had sustained severe injuries, including bruises and a skull fracture. A second autopsy indicated that strangulation might have played a role in her death. This new evidence shifted the case into darker territory. The trial and the search for justice. The trial of Carlos Monzón in 1989 captured the nation's attention. Public opinion was sharply divided, with some continuing to support their fallen hero, while others demanded justice for Alicia. The key witness was a man named Rafael Baez, who testified that he had seen Carlos beat Alicia and throw her off the balcony. Despite Carlos' denials, the court found him guilty of simple homicide. Carlos was sentenced to 11 years in prison, but his story didn't end there. He was temporarily released in 1994, but died in a car crash in 1995, a tragic end to a man whose legacy had been marred by violence. Maximiliano's journey to healing. In the years that followed, Maximiliano, Alicia's son, carried the burden of both parents' tragic ends. He endured a deep emotional trauma, but through therapy and the support of his family, he slowly found healing. As an adult, he forgave his father, believing that Carlos had loved him. It took years for Maximiliano to come to terms with his painful past, but finding peace was the only way forward. Reflection and justice. The tragic death of Alicia Munis at the hands of Carlos Monzón serves as a haunting reminder of the complexities of fame, violence, and human relationships. The question remains, was justice truly served? As we reflect on this story, we must ask ourselves whether we can truly separate the man from the myth, and how far we are willing to go to protect the truth. What do you think? Was justice served in this case, or was the influence of fame too strong? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining us in uncovering one of Argentina's most shocking tragedies. The story of Carlos Monzón and Alicia Munis left a deep scar on the nation, and even after all these years, it continues to stir debate and provoke questions about justice, fame, and the dark side of relationships. But this is just one of many true crime stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Next time, we're diving into a completely different kind of mystery. An ordinary couple with a child, living what seemed like a peaceful life. But behind the facade, they were hiding a secret that no one saw coming. The layers of deception and the chilling truth will unfold in our next true crime documentary. Was everything they showed to the world just an act? You won't believe the shocking twists in this one. If you're craving more stories like this, of hidden darkness, shocking twists, and the truth that lurks behind everyday lives, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. You don't want to miss out on our next investigation. Together, we'll explore the most untold stories from across Latin America, unmasking the truth behind the headlines. Like, subscribe, and comment below with your thoughts on today's case. Do you think Carlos Monzón was truly guilty? Or was the entire situation manipulated by those around him? Let us know what you think. Until next time, stay curious and never stop seeking the truth.